The builders of India's heritage, Sri Chaitanya. Wide stretches of field covered with tall grasses or bushes, lying desolate for the most part, suddenly sprang to life. A charming young man danced and sang and wandered through them, followed by a large number of people. All were in ecstasy. Who was this young man? Wondered the people of the nearby villages. And soon they learned that he was Chaitanya, by then already famous as a great devotee of Krishna. Whoever once saw him felt the urge to follow him. Such a magnetic personality was he. But why was he wandering amid those desolate fields? Because that was the sacred area of Vrindavan, where Krishna was a child, played with his cowherd companions, and where, on the bank of the river Yamuna, he played his flute. There were a number of spots in Vrindavan intimately associated with many a sweet deed and miracle of Krishna. But centuries had rolled by, and the people had forgotten which were those holy spots. Chaitanya was out to discover them. While singing the glory of Krishna, Chaitanya would often pass into trances. Then he would open his eyes and point out those to his followers, a spot where a memorable event had taken place in Krishna's time. By and by, he discovered all such spots lost to human memory, spots which are visited by streams of devotees since then. Chaitanya was born at Navadvip, Bengal in 1486 of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. His father and grandfather were well-known school scholars. Chaitanya, who was called Nimai, impressed all as a highly intelligent boy. He lost his father when quite young, but he enjoyed the love and affection of all his neighbors. He married a girl named Lakshmi and set up a Sanskrit school. All signs showed that he was growing into a prosperous householder. Lakshmi soon died, but Sachi Devi got him married again, this time to Vishnupriya. But the great change came over him all on a sudden. He to perform the funeral rites for his father. There inside the temple of Vishnu, he realized that the worldly life was not for him. There took place a remarkable coincidence. He met a great Vaishnava sage, Ishwarapuri, in the temple. They knew each other earlier. Chaitanya had great respect for the sage, while the sage knew that Nimai was no ordinary young man. Now the time had come for Chaitanya to wake up to the mission of his life. Ishwarapuri initiated him and he returned home already a Vaishnava. At Navadvip, all came to know of his change before long. He closed down his school and passed all his time muttering the name of Krishna. Sometimes he was in ecstasy over his inner union with the Lord. Sometimes he was in tears due to the pang of separation from his Lord. In any case, no other thought but his Lord seemed to enter his mind. Srivas, a Pandit, was a friend of the family. Sachi Devi requested this wise man to persuade his son to become mindful of his worldly responsibility. Pandit Srivas met Chaitanya only to be overwhelmed by the young man's power of devotion. It was at Srivas' house that soon the Vaishnavas of Navadvip began to meet regularly. Great was their enthusiasm now that they were led by Chaitanya. It did not take long for any devotee to realize that their leader was a man of destiny, one who was endowed with the true spiritual powers. Group of Vaishnavas at Chaitanya's marched instruction through the streets singing kirtan, devotional songs dedicated to Krishna. One such a group, led by Nityananda, an ascetic who had taken to Chaitanya's path, was confronted by two notorious hooligans. They were Jagai and Madai, two rich brothers who found great pleasure in tormenting others. Madai howled at the party of Kirtan singers and ordered them to stop, but they won't. Madai hurled a wine pot at Nityananda, who was wounded. Some people ran and reported the incident to Chaitanya. Chaitanya rushed to the spot. Madai, would have done greater harm to Nityananda but for Jogai. When Chaitanya arrived on the scene, instead of complaining to him of the treatment he had received, the bleeding Nityananda urged upon him to bless Jogai. Chaitanya embraced Jogai. The rowdy Jogai fainted at the blissful touch. Madai stood stunned. Before him stood the incarnation of love and compassion. They were surrounded by the devotees singing the song of Krishna's glory. Madai did not know when tears had started flowing down his cheeks. Chaitanya smiled and embraced him too. The infamous brothers soon became famous as Chaitanya's ardent disciples. As days passed, more and more people were attracted towards Chaitanya. Great and aged scholars bowed to the young sage. Chaitanya's assurance that love and bhakti devotion led to the realization of Krishna brought a new hope for the suffering and confused seekers. The Qazi of Navadvip looked at this new moment with suspicion. Not that he had any objection to the people chanting the name of Krishna, but they must do so unitedly and take out joyous processions were things which made him ill at ease. He announced that henceforth no procession singing Kirtan can be taken out. To the Vaishnavas, the order came like a bolt from the blue. They felt depressed, but the champion of tolerance, though Chaitanya was, he knew no fear. He asked his disciples to organize a procession in defiance of the Qazi's order. Late in the afternoon, the streets of Navadvip wore a festive look. Not only did group after group of Vaishnavas playing the mridangam, the drum, and the cymbal collect on the square, but also thousands of citizens followed them. A mammoth procession, led by Chaitanya himself, advanced towards the Qazi's mansion. The Qazi was in the grip of fear. Chaitanya, however, assured the Qazi's officials that he meant no harm to the Qazi. The Qazi appeared before Chaitanya and promised that in future no obstruction would be put before the devotees. One day, while the devotees surrounding Chaitanya were singing Kirtan at Sriva's house, he bade them to stop, for he felt that something amiss had taken place in the house. On enquiry, he learned that Sriva's young son had died. But Srivas had not brought that to his notice, lest the Kirtan should be disturbed. Chaitanya stood near the dead child and tried to console the crying woman, but they seemed inconsolable. Chaitanya suddenly looked at the dead child and asked him to explain his parents why he was dead. The miracle happened. The child opened his eyes and said that his soul had occupied the body as long as it was necessary. Providence has so arranged that the soul must be reborn elsewhere. I bid you goodbye, said the child, and he fell dead again. Chaitanya now decided that it was time for him to leave Navdeep and go out spreading his message. He left the house at night and arrived at Katya. There lived Keshav Bharati, a great ascetic. Chaitanya was initiated by him to asceticism. The call of Puri, the seat of Lord Jagannath, was growing ever louder in Chaitanya's heart. He headed in that direction, followed by a few disciples. Upon entering the temple of Puri, Chaitanya straightway ran near the deities and embraced the idol of Jagannath. He fell down, losing consciousness. The priest did not know what to do, but a pandit of the court of King Rudra of Puri, Vasudeva Sarvabhauma, also hailing from Navadvip, happened to be in the temple at the moment. He took the stranger to his house and learned who he was. While trying to teach Chaitanya his own philosophy, Sarvabhauma was soon converted to the way of Chaitanya. It did not take long for Chaitanya to win the recognition of the scholars of Puri. His disciples from Navadvip too started flocking to Puri. Chaitanya, on a visit to the south, met Raya Ramananda, king of Prataparudra Viceroy, stationed at Raj Mahendri. Raya was a great mystic. In Chaitanya, he recognized the divine messenger. He gave up his position and came away to Puri, where he could enjoy the privilege of Chaitanya's company. Soon, King Prataparudra too was enamored of Chaitanya's personality. When the famous car festival of Jagannath, Balaram and Subhadra came, thousands of people witnessed the heavenly scene of Chaitanya and his followers dancing in ecstasy before the advancing cars. As long as Chaitanya was at Puri, the car festival was marked by his participation. As time passed, people coming in contact with Chaitanya gained amazing spiritual experiences. They realized that he was an incarnation. They called him Mahaprabhu, the great Lord. Chaitanya too never failed to recognize the mystic around him. They were people from all sects, castes, and religions, including Muslims. His disciples continued to be active at Puri, Navadvip, and Vrindavan, bringing about a regeneration in the Vaishnava tradition of India. Chaitanya's end is shrouded in mystery. According to the legends, he had last been seen standing in the trance, fixing his gaze on Jagannath. It is popular belief that even his physical body merged in the deity. Others say that while in trance, he immersed himself in the sea, as though the blue vastness was the body of his master, Krishna. Here are some words of Chaitanya given to Raya Ramananda shortly before his disappearance. Become good and consider yourself humbler than grass. Be patient as a tree. A tree does not complain if one cuts it. It does not ask for a drop of water from anybody, though it dries up. It gives away freely its treasure of flowers and fruits to anyone who wants it. It exposes itself to the rains and the sun, giving up its store to others. A Vaishnava should be absolutely devoid of pride. He should consider that Krishna is present in every soul and therefore should show respect to others without asking any for himself. One who becomes like this and then utters Krishna's name is rewarded with love of him. Support us by subscribing our channel.